Hello, my dear students. Today we are seeing a topic elimination reactions from chapter Alkenes. Myself, Mr. Tamak Vikrant Molidhar, Assistant Professor from PIS College of Pharmacy for Women, Chincholi, Sindar, Nasik. I am very thankful to Dr. Nirmal sir to give an opportunity for me to speak in front of you people. And it was been told by Nirmal sir to me that to take a lecture online, but due to internet distractions, it is not possible. So I uploaded it on YouTube so that you can see by your convenience afterwards also. So thank you, Nirmal sir, for giving me an opportunity. So today we'll learn elimination reactions from chapter alkenes. So basically, what are elimination reactions? So students, let me tell you that there are 4 types of reactions in organic chemistry. So out of that, one is elimination reaction, and remaining like addition reaction in organic chemistry, like rearrangement reaction, and last one, that is substitution reaction. Means elimination, addition, substitution, and rearrangement. So these are 4 types of reactions in organic chemistry. So out of that, one is elimination reactions. So elimination reaction is a type of organic reaction in which 2 substances are removed from a molecule in either one or 2-step mechanism. So here important is that not only one group is been eliminated. So there are 2 groups which are been removed in the same reaction. So removal of these 2 groups, so it takes place by 1-step mechanism or 2-step mechanism. So depending on that mechanism, so there are 2 types of organic reactions, that is E1 and E2. So let's see then example of an elimination reaction firstly. So here you can see that 2 atoms, they are been simultaneously departed in 1 step or 2 step. So here you can see that hydrogen, so here you can see that hydrogen from an beta carbon atom, it has been removed, and also OH from alpha carbon, it has been removed. So why it is alpha actually? Because it is having an OH group, so it is said to be an alpha, and this carbon, it is a beta carbon, so alpha and beta. So here you can see that one of an hydrogen, it has been removed, and when this OH group, it has been removed. So there is removal of 2 substituents. So here in the definition you can see that 2 substituents have been removed, and either it has been removed in 1 step or 2 step, depending on that whether it is unimolecular or bimolecular reaction. So depending on that, it has been removed, and after removal of it, it forms an alkene. So here you can see that here it was only a single bond. So all these single bonds are sigma bonds, and when it comes to a double bond, so it forms an pi bond. Right? So double bond means one is pi bond and one is sigma bond. From these two, one is pi bond and second one is in sigma bond. So all students, you might be knowing that there are 3 types of bonds in organic chemistry. So out of that, important for us in the point of organic chemistry, that is covalent bond, and it is formed due to sharing of an electrons between atoms. So here you can see that when it comes to a single bond, so it is said to be a sigma bond, and sigma bond, it is formed due to a sigma electrons, or it is formed due to sharing of an one. So one electron, it comes from an s orbit, and another one, it comes from an again s orbit. Either one comes from s and second one comes from p. So ss overlap or sp overlap can form a sigma bond, while pp overlap, that is lateral overlap, it forms a pi bond. So in elimination, the pi bond it is been formed with removal of a molecule. So it is said to be an elimination. So firstly we'll see for an convenience for of an understanding. So firstly we'll see E2 reaction. So name itself indicate that E2 means there might be so it is an bimolecular reaction, and E1 means unimolecular reaction. Just as same SN1 and SN2, right? So E1, so elimination by second order reaction. So it is said to be an E2 reaction. So in this reaction, base removes a proton from an beta carbon atom, while the halogen atom leaves from the alpha carbon, resulting in the formation of an pi bond. Such eliminations are also called beta elimination reactions. So why they are called beta elimination? So we'll see from a reaction. So here you can see now, here it is having a base, right? So base, it initiates a reaction, and this hydrogen over CH2, it is been removed. So from concept you can see that it is an beta carbon atom. Why it is beta carbon? So here bromine, it is attached to an alpha carbon, a group which has been attached, high priority group, it has been attached to an carbon. So it is said to be an alpha carbon, and second carbon it is said to be an beta carbon. So alpha carbon having an Br, while beta carbon it is having an hydrogen for an abstraction. So this NaOH, or we can say base, so it abstracts this hydrogen, right? And after abstraction of an hydrogen, it forms an pi bond in between, and simultaneously this Br, it has been removed, right? And forming a water molecule plus removal of this Br. So from reaction you can understand that H2O, it has been removed. So at the end of reaction, or we can say the end of this reaction can be concluded by forming a water molecule, right? So in this step, here is no water molecule in the beginning, but at the last we can see that water molecule it has been formed and it has been removed out, right? And it is due to this base NaOH. After that, it is also called beta elimination reaction. So already I explained you that this hydrogen, it has been abstracted by base, so it is said to be an beta elimination, right? Now we'll see a mechanism in the detail. So in the first step, base abstract a proton from carbon, which forms a pi bond between carbon-carbon, and due to this, halogen is been removed. So now here you can see that we have seen that it requires an base. So this base, it is nothing but an OH. So it comes from a dissociation of an NOH. So NOH after dissociation, it will give a nucleophilic, or we can say nucleophile means what? It is having a negative charge. Electrophile means it is having a positive charge. So all basic molecules, they are nucleophilic in nature, or they are having a negative charge on it. So this OH, it abstract an hydrogen. So students, don't confuse with these bonds, right? Don't confuse with these arrows. These arrows, it indicate that flow of electron, right? So oxygen, it is having an electron rich center, and hydrogen, it is an electron deficient center. So from periodic table also we can understand that oxygen, it is having more electronegative than hydrogen. So hydrogen, it is an electropositive center, and oxygen, it is an electronegative center. So this oxygen, it abstract an proton, right, from this CH2. So this CH2, it is nothing but an beta carbon, and this C, it is nothing but an alpha carbon, because it has been attached to an halogen. So it is said to be an alpha, and this, it is said to be an beta. So it abstract an proton. This arrow indicates flow of an electron, and after that, the bond between this carbon and hydrogen, it breaks, and it forms an pi bond, right? As pi bond, it has been formed, the valency of carbon, it becomes different. The valency of carbon, it is 4. Now it becomes 5 due to formation of this pi bond. So here it forms a double bond, and one that below it is a sigma bond, and one it will form an one more that will be an pi bond. So due to this pi bond formation, simultaneously group departs. See here you can see the breaking of bond between carbon and bromine. So it break towards an bromine. So again it is indicating a flow of an electron. So meaning of this thing is that when a bond breaks in this way, so Br will have a negative charge. If bond it breaks in opposite direction, so Br will have a positive charge. But it does not happen because carbon is more, we can say, an electropositive than bromine. Right? So bromine is more electronegative than carbon. So bromine carry away an electron. As you all know that halogens are more electronegative than any other atom in the periodic table. And so that is why it breaks towards a bromine. And after that, now you can see over here that here it forms an pi bond after abstraction of an hydrogen, right? So once pi bond it is been formed, this Br will simultaneously remove, and now it forms an alkene, right? And alkene plus water molecule it has been given in the end step, and plus this Br. So Br it is having a negative charge. So I told you already that this arrow it indicates an electron flow, right? So it is indicating an electron flow. So bromine will have a negative charge. It is not indicated over here, but bromine will have a negative charge, right? So this mechanism it is an one-step mechanism. So simultaneously two groups are being departed, as we have seen in definition of an elimination also, that two substituents they get removed from a molecule. So two substituent means one hydrogen and the second one is in Br. So it is been removed, and two substituents it removes and it forms an pi bond, right? And after formation of pi bond we get an alkene product. Now we'll come towards a rate of reaction. So why it is called bimolecular reaction? See, bimolecular reaction means that rate of reaction it depends on both substrate and base. So reaction is said to be a bimolecular reaction. So the concentration of base as well as an concentration of substrate both are important for the rate of reaction. So substrate and base. So here you can see the rate of reaction with having constant K, and this is nothing but our substrate, right? Tertiary butyl chloride, and having an base. So bracket it indicate and it is having an it is in concentration actually, right? Now we'll see the evidences. So first evidence is that kinetics. Already we have seen the rate of reaction. That rate of reaction it depends on substrate as well as on base, right? So it follows an second order kinetics, so we can say, because it is a bimolecular reaction. After that, it is nothing but an isotopic effect. So to understand an isotopic effect, firstly you should know what is an isotope. So isotopes are such atoms or such molecules, we can say the mass number of molecule changes, but atomic number is same. So atomic number is what? Atomic number, like hydrogen, it is having an atomic number 1, right? Carbon it is having an atomic number 6. Nitrogen it is having an atomic number 7. Oxygen is having an atomic number 8. Right? So these are some important elements of an organic chemistry. And mass number, so it indicate not only number of electrons but it indicate number of protons also. Right? So number of electrons plus number of proton it indicate a mass of that atom. So carbon it is having a mass that is 12. Nitrogen it is having a mass that is 14. Oxygen it is having mass that is 16. So basically you can understand from this that mass number it is double of an actually an atomic number, right? So mass number in case of an hydrogen it is exceptional one, that it is having only one electron is in outer shell, plus it is having a proton, but it is having a mass number and atomic number same, right? So isotopic effect. So there are basically three types of an hydrogen. So we'll see one by one. Hydrogen is abstracted by base in the reaction. So already we have seen in the mechanism that hydrogen is been abstracted by base in the reaction from an beta carbon. After that, as the mass of isotopic hydrogen increases, rate of reaction decreases. So it is very simple logic that mass of an hydrogen increases. So anything like example we will take that if we require some energy to move an 5 kg object, definitely for 10 kg we'll require more, and for 15 kg we'll require huge amount of energy. Similar way, this when base abstract an proton from an beta carbon atom, so it requires some amount of an energy, and the rate as the amount of energy increases, the rate of reaction decreases. So here you can see there are uh, three actually type of an hydrogen. So first one we it is indicatively supposed to be said an hydrogen. After that it is deuterium, and third one that is tritium. So difference in between these three is that hydrogen it is having a mass number 1, deuterium it is having a mass number 2, and tritium it is having a mass number 3. So you can understand that hydrogen it is when it is having a mass number 1, so it requires less amount of energy. Deuterium it is having a mass number 2, so it requires little bit more energy, or we can say double energy compared to an hydrogen. And lastly tritium, so tritium it requires, we can say, a triple energy compared to the hydrogen, and more energy compared to a deuterium. So it is due to as the mass increases on hydrogen, right? So mass hydrogen it becomes 2 for deuterium, and for tritium it becomes 3. So rate of reaction decreases because base energy to have for abstraction of an hydrogen from an beta carbon atom, so base it requires an amount of energy higher compared to an hydrogen. So in deuterium it will be rate of reaction will be decreased, and tritium it will be more decreased. So the rate of reaction it increases with hydrogen, deuterium, and tritium, and all these are isotope, right? So all these are isotope means what? They are having atomic number 1, but the mass number they are having different. So mass number hydrogen 1, deuterium 2, and tritium 3. Right? So these are the mass numbers of different hydrogen, isotopic hydrogen we can say. Okay, so from this I can explain you. See, this is a mechanism what we were actually talking about. So this one is an hydrogen on beta carbon. So already I explained this alpha carbon with bromine, and beta carbon that is having a beta carbon on the CH2. When base it abstract and hydrogen, right? So hydrogen, isotopic hydrogens are of three types: hydrogen, deuterium, and tritium, having mass number 1, 2, and 3 respectively. So as the mass number on this hydrogen increases, right, so energy requirement for an base it increases. Right? So as mass number is 1, so it will require less amount of energy. As mass number is 2, so it will require a little bit more amount of energy, and as mass number becomes 3, so it requires huge amount of energy we can say. Right? So from this you can understand now an isotopic effect. Right after that it is an element effect. So for that element effect, so again we have to go for a reaction. So here I have drawn an reaction. See here now element we are talking not about now an hydrogen. So already we have seen the isotopic effect of an hydrogen in the evidence. Next part that is an element. So element it is nothing but an halogen over here. Right? So halogen it is been also removed. So as halogen it has been removed due to formation of an pi bond, and after that it forms an alkene. How element effect it has been shown by an type of an halogen. So after abstraction of an hydrogen by base, simultaneously halogen departs from the substrate to form an alkene. Energy required for bond cleavage in CX. So CX it is nothing but this one, right? So alpha carbon atom CX. So X it refers an halogen in order of that fluorine CF is greater than Cl, greater than CBr, greater than Ci. So there are four types of an halogen: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Right? So this four type of an halogens. So fluorine, already you might be knowing that fluorine is one of the most electronegative atom in the periodic table. After that second halogen it is chlorine. Right? So chlorine after that bromine, and after that iodine. And halogen, it is one of the smallest element we can say in periodic table. So atomic size also matters. Atomic size is very less for fluorine. It increases for chlorine because the shells increases. So it is having only one p shell, but here chlorine is having two p shell. Chlorine is having two p shells, and bromine is having three p shells, while iodine is having four p shells. Right? So from this from this equation, you can understand that fluorine is requiring more energy compared to chlorine, compared to bromine, and compared to iodine. So hence it affects on rate of reaction. So hence it affects on rate of reaction means that uh, that order of reaction, that uh, carbon and iodine bond, it breaks easily. After that, carbon and bromine bond breaks easily, but more easiest it is an iodine, right? So less energy it is required for iodine. After that, for bromine, it requires little bit high amount of energy. After that, chlorine, it requires more energy, and after that, again fluorine, it requires more energy. So for the rate of reaction, you can see now over here is that iodine. So when this halogen, it is an iodine, rate of reaction increases because iodine, it does not require a huge amount of energy. So from this equation you can understand that iodine, it requires less energy. After that bromine, it requires less. After that chlorine, it requires less, and fluorine, it requires more amount of energy. Right? So this is an order: iodine, bromine, chlorine, and fluorine. When there will be iodine, so rate of reaction it will increase. When there will be an fluorine, so uh, rate of reaction will be very slow, right? Because bond cleavage between this halogen and carbon for fluorine, it is very slow, but in case of an iodine, it is quite fast. Because electronegativity, again it matters again also depending on electronegativity. So fluorine is more electronegative than chlorine. After that bromine, and after that iodine. So halogens, there are four only halogens, and iodine is one of the weakest halogen we can say in case of an bond cleavage, because electronegativity of this iodine, it is quite low compared to others in a sequence of an bromine, fluorine, chlorine, and fluorine. So fluorine, it requires a huge amount of energy. Right? After that, reactions are these E2 reactions are stereospecific. So why these reactions are stereospecific? So we will understand in E1 reaction. And last evidence is that there is no rearrangement. So for this purpose, again we will understand the concept why there is no rearrangement. So in case of an even elimination, we will understand the concept what is actually a rearrangement and why molecule tries to attain and rearrangement in itself. So it tries to attain and rearrangement because it forms a more stable structure after breaking or cleavage of an any bond. Any molecule tries to form a more stable structure. But as there is no cation formation, carbocation formation, so there is no rearrangement in case of an E2 reaction. So already we have seen in the mechanism, so it is one step reaction, and simultaneously two groups departs in one step. So there is no rearrangement in case of an E2 reaction because there is no formation of a carbocation. Now we'll see a next point, that is orientation. So orientation means what? Arrangement of an molecules we can say, and this arrangement of molecules also matters for a reaction. See, like here you can see. So these are two carbons. So it is said to be an source representation. So it is indicating an stereochemical structure actually now, and see it is an source representation, and base it abstract this hydrogen and forms an this dot, or we can say this dot between these two one line, it is indicating an carbon it has been joined, and as base it has been attracted by an hydrogen, it forms a double bond. So these are two carbon at both ends, and after that simultaneously it will remove an halogen atom and it forms an pi bond. So here you can see it is said to be an syn elimination. So syn elimination means what? These hydrogen and halogen, they are in the same plane. Like see here you can see now. So we will move over here now. Okay. So here you can see now. It is also called as an. It is also a type of an representing an stereochemical structure. So it is said to be a Newman's formula, and this one it is said to be a Sauer's representation. So Sauer's representation, by looking from this angle, so by looking from the front side, it looks in this way, right? So hydrogen and halogen, they are behind each other, right? And this conformation, it is said to be an eclipse. So already eclipse you have heard about, you might have heard about this eclipse. So sometimes we heard that here that there is moon eclipse, right? So moon eclipse means what? Sun and moon, they are behind each other, and we can see the dot of moon on the sun. So similar way, hydrogen and halogen, they are behind each other, right? So when they are behind each other, say it is said to be an eclipse conformation. So conformation, again, conformation is nothing but rotation of this bond, and due to rotation of this bond, the structure, or we can say the molecule atoms, they will rotate, right? Now second type, that is anti-elimination. So now in syn elimination we have seen that both are in same plane, right? And now in case of an anti-elimination, so in case of an anti-elimination, both groups, or we can say both the atoms, they are opposite, right? So they are now an opposite. So now we can also see by an Sauer's representation, and this Sauer's representation, this Newman's representation, it is said to be a staggered conformation. This one is Sauer's and this one is in Newman's. So these are opposite to each other, and basically you know that now see this angle, it is up to almost 180 degree, and here angle it is 0, right? Because they are lying in one plane, and as angle between this hydrogen and halogen, it is 0. So it means that steric hindrances will be more. So steric hindrances, you might be understanding that as these two are in one plane, so there will be some repulsion, right? Because both are closer in the proximity. But in case of an halogen and hydrogen, so they are opposite to each other, right? So as they are opposite to each other, so the stability of this molecule, it is quite greater, and as it is anti, so reaction becomes more favorable. So that is why, so here you can see that anti-elimination is more favored than syn elimination, as in anti-elimination repulsion is avoided by electron-rich base. So from this you can understand that electron-rich base, right? So already we are, I have talked that base, it is nothing but a nucleophile over here. So it is electron-rich, and due to repulsive effect, or we can say a steric effect. So due to this steric effect, syn elimination is not favored, but anti-elimination they have been favored. So we can say this anti-conformation, or we can say a staggered conformation. So it is most favored for this elimination reaction. Now we'll move towards the next point, that is Step's rule, or it is also called Z rule. And the name itself indicates that Step's and Z, these were the scientists to discover a rule. So this rule implies that base-induced elimination, that is E2, will lead to predominantly to an olefine. So olefine, it is nothing but an we will say it is nothing but an alkene. So alkene is having a different name, that is olefine, in which double bond is more highly substituted. Thus the double bond goes to mainly towards the most highly substituted carbon, because olefine stability increases with alkyl substitution. So now I will explain it. See here, it is an example of an 2-bromobutane, and when it is reacted with base, certainly it is an elimination reaction. So there is not only one product formation, there are two product formation, right? So here you can see that 2-bromobutane. So it forms butene, 2-butene, and one more it forms 1-butene. And you can see over here that 80% of 2-butane it is formed, and only 20% of 1-butane it has been formed. So from this you can understand that when when alkyne it is more substituted, right? So it is more stable. When alkene it is less substituted, so it is less stable. So less substituted and more substituted, it means that this double bond it is between two carbons, and again to adjoining these two carbons there are more two carbons, right? So butene 2A, or we can say 2-butene, it is having a double bond in between, and substitution it increases with one more carbon in the adjoining space. But here you can see that this carbon it is having only two hydrogens, right? And these two hydrogens compared to this structure, first one structure, here it is having an CH3 in the adjoining space, but it is having an hydrogen. So it is said to be a less substituted. So less substituted means what? If it was having an CH2 in front of it, so we can say that it is more. We can say that it is more substituted. But here you can see that there are two hydrogens, so it is less substituted, right? And so that is why it becomes a less stable alkene. So as double bond shift in between, so it becomes a more stable alkene. So meaning of this thing is that meaning of this rule is that highly substituted alkene it is formed, right? So the major product it will be an highly substituted alkene, and so less stable alkene, or we can say less stable substituted alkene will be formed as that will be an. Okay, hope you now understand steps rule, right? So we'll now move towards a further point. So in accordance with this steps rule, so I can explain it with an stabilities of an alkene. So these are some stability. So I have shown you some stabilities of an alkene. So this, so here you can see this alkene it has been tetra substituted, right? So it is tetra substituted means it is having an 4 different R groups, and after that it has been tri substituted, bi substituted, and mono. So from the stabilities of an alkene, so tetra substituted alkene, so it is more stable. So as it is indicated by an sign. After that tri substituted, it is more stable. So less stable to an tetra substituted, sorry. And after that di substituted, and after that mono substituted. So it is one of the least stable, and more substituted, that is an tetra substituted. So from this you can understand the stabilities of alkene, and it is correlated with Steps rule that more substitution will be substituted will be an alkene, so more major that product will be formed, right? Okay. Now next thing that is an, so let me, okay. Next thing that is an Hoffman rule. So Hoffman rule, it refers when there are some bulky substrate, or we can say an bulky bases. So when there are bulky bases, it does not follow and Steps rule because there are some steric hindrances which leads to form an Hoffman product. So I can explain with an example. So now here you can see that this one is an ethanol, and ethanol after removal of an proton, it forms an base, right? So once it forms an base, or we can say nucleophile, so it will abstract an hydrogen, right? And this hydrogen it has been abstracted from this carbon, right? So one of an hydrogen it has been abstracted from this carbon, and second molecule that is nothing but an bromine, so it has been abstracted from this carbon, right? And as per the Steps rule, so it forms 71% and 71% product. So we can say that this one first product it is highly substituted. So after a reaction, we get two types of end product. Right? So two types means what? So there are two possibilities to remove an hydrogen. So one hydrogen. So first product it removes an hydrogen from this carbon, and second one this product it removes an hydrogen from the first carbon, right, adjoining to an bromine, right. So it removes this hydrogen, we can say in blue color now. So blue color hydrogen it is removed for the second product, while for an first product green color hydrogen it is been removed. So this product it is 71% because it is substituted, or we can say more substituted. So this carbon it is having CH3 over here, and this carbon it is having 2 CH3. But in case of this one, it is having an carbon. This having carbon is having an hydrogen and hydrogen over here, and that is why. So it is less substituted, and this is a minor product, and first one that is a major product. Right? And this product it is said to be a Steps product, and this one is said to be a Hoffman product. So one more reaction we need to understand. See, now you can see that this hydrogen it is less hindered, but in case of this hydrogen, green color hydrogen, it is more hindered because it is having a bromine from one side, and from one side again it is having a CH3 group, right? So there are little bit more steric hindrances compared to and this hydrogen. So it is free hydrogen, we can say. So it is with a free hand. And when this Hoffman rule states that when there is bulky base, or we can say bulky substrate. So now we have taken an example of an bulky base. So here it was nothing but an ethanol, right? Simply an ethanol with a straight chain structure. But here now it is an tertiary butanol, right? So tertiary butanol, it is an bulky base having an 3 CH3 in 3 corner, and fourth corner it is having an OH. So it is an bulky, and due to this bulkness of this butyl ion, right? So this butyl ion, so it is easy for this butyl ion to remove the hydrogen from the CH2, but it is a little bit difficult to remove an hydrogen from this H, from this carbon, because here it is having bromine from one side, and from another side it is having a CH3. So it is little bit difficult for and CS this base to remove an hydrogen from here. So that is why it forms an 28 product. But as per the theory proposed by Steps, uh, it is more substituted alkene, so it should form a major product. But so you should understand that Hoffman states when there is bulky base or bulky substrate. So we have taken example of an bulky substrate. So this bulky substrate can easily abstract the hydrogen compared to this one. Right? So blue color hydrogen it is easily abstracted compared to this one hydrogen. So that is why it removes and it forms a major product. Right? So this product it is said to be an Hoffman product. So Hoffman rule it works only when there is bulky base or bulky substrate. Right? Now we'll come towards an important reaction. Next important reaction, we'll say, that is E1 reaction. So an E1 reaction involves the removal of halogen in the first step. So E1 it is basically an elimination one reaction. So from name itself we can understand that it is unimolecular, and unimolecular means the concentration depends either on substrate or either on base. Not base actually, so it depends on substrate only. Right? So, and E1 reaction involves the removal of halogen in the first step, which leads to form an carbocation. Base removes hydrogen from an intermediate, which forms an alkene product. So similarly, like in case of an elimination 2, so again there is an alkyl halide, and alkyl halide converts to an alkene. But mechanism is different, or we can say steps are different for both of the reaction. Both the reactions are similar, that from alkyl halide we get an alkene, right? But the manner is different. So one it is that E2 elimination it is bimolecular and it is one step, while E1 it is two step mechanism. Right? Again, similar is the thing that base removes an intermediate. Right? See now here, alkyl halide, and in presence of an NaOH, ethanol here, ethanol, role of ethanol, it is nothing but an solvent, and once the ethanol plus NaOH it has been heated with alkyl halide, it forms an alkene. Right? So this is one of a preparation method for an alkene also from alkyl halide. And now we'll see the mechanism. Right? Okay, now we'll see the rate of reaction. So rate of reaction depends only on substrate concentration. Right? So from equation you can understand that rate equal to K plus concentration of an substrate. Right? So concentration of an substrate, rate of reaction it depends on. Right? So it is said to be an unimolecular reaction. So now we'll see mechanism. So mechanism we have seen in case of an E2 reaction. Now we'll see in case of an E1 reaction. Right? So E1 proceeds by 2 steps, and while in case of an E2 we have seen there was only 1 step. Now in case of an E2 there are 2 steps. First step is that is generation of an carbocation, and second is abstraction of an hydrogen by base. Right? See here we can see that first step, and that is slow step. Right? So halogen departs. Right? In case of an E2, we seen that after forming an pi bond, simultaneously halogen depart. But in case of an E1, it is different. That halogen departs firstly. So halogen departs from this uh, alkyl halide molecule. Right? And once halogen it departs, one halogen it depart and it form an carbocation. So carbocation it is nothing but an forming an carbon. Carbon with an positive center. So again, I have explained the meaning of this arrow. So this arrow it indicates that this halogen it is carrying an halogen is uh, carrying an electron with itself, right? So that is why it is having a negative charge. So this arrow it indicates flow of electrons. So don't confuse with this arrow. So it is not indicating that group is leaving. So it is indicating that after breaking of this carbon and Cl bond, so it will break in a such way, and that is why it is carrying a negative charge. The electrons are being carried by an chlorine. Right? After that, it is forming an intermediate. So intermediate it is nothing but an carbohydrate. Now it is an electron deficient center because chlorine it is an electron rich center. So that is why this it becomes an electron deficient center. And after that, base. Right? So base it is nothing but an we can say basic water. Right? So water you know that it is amphoteric in nature. So it acts as a base as well as an acid also. So it abstracts a proton from this carbocation to form a stable structure. Right? And once it abstracts a proton, so this hydrogen, right, by breaking a bond between carbon and hydrogen, so it gives an electron towards an carbon, and now it forms a double bond. So here you can see a double bond it is being formed, and a lone pair of electron over oxygen it abstracts the proton, and water molecule, or we can say ionized water molecule it has been removed, and this step it is fast. Right? While first step it is slow, or we can say it is said to be a rate determining step. Simply it is said to be an RDS, rate determining step. So it is slow step, while second step it is fast because intermediate which is formed. So it tries to attain an stability at the faster rate, and that is why we get an alkene in a fast manner in the second step. So E2 it proceeds by two steps. So first step that is generation of carbocation, right? So carbocation it is been generated, and second step that is abstraction of hydrogen by base, right? So hydrogen is been abstracted by an base, right? Now we'll see evidences. So there are similar points as we have seen in case of an E2 reaction. So first that is it follows in first order kinetic. So in case of a red, we have seen that concentration does depend only on a substrate. So that is why it follows and first order kinetics, or we can say it is an unimolecular reaction also. After that, isotopic effect. So there is no hydrogen isotopic effect because the proton it has been lost in the second step, or we can say it is in fast step, right? So in case of an E1, if you remember it quite, so in case of an E1, base abstract and proton, right? And simultaneously it forms an pi bond, and after that halogen it departs. But in case of an E1 reaction, there is no isotopic effect, because in the first step halogen is removed, and in the second step proton it is been lost, and this proton is lost because a molecule has to attain and stable structure, because carbocation it has been found in the first step and it has to attain and stable structure, and due to the stability, to increase the stability of a molecule, so there will be no circumstances of an hydrogen, and easily it will the base can remove an hydrogen, right? Because hydrogen has to lose firstly, and or we can say proton has to be lost, and this work it has been done by formally by base. After that, element defect. So element effect it is similar as in case of an E1 reaction. So here in the first step, if we have seen that carbocation it is being generated. So carbocation it is generated after cleavage of this CX bond, right? So carbocation it is generated after cleavage of this CX bond, and due to which uh, we can see the order now, that fluorine it requires more energy than chlorine, than bromine, and then iodine, right? So fluorine it requires more energy, after that chlorine it requires less energy, bromine it requires less energy, and very less energy it is required for an iodine, right? So this is an order of an bond cleavage, right? Bond cleavage order is in a such way, and hence the rate of reaction it decreases with flow. Uh, with fluorine, it requires more energy, and chlorine it requires less energy compared to fluorine, and least energy it is required for an iodine. So the rate of reaction it increases with iodine, with bromine, with chlorine, with fluorine. As we can understand that fluorine it requires more energy, or huge amount of energy, to dissociate the bond between carbon and fluorine, right? So it requires a huge amount of energy compared to all this, right? And in order we can say, an iodine it requires an less energy. So the rate of reaction increases with iodine, bromine, chlorine, fluorine, right? And as the energy requirement is less, the cleavage will be faster, and so that is why the rate of reaction increases. Now we'll see the next evidence, that is rearrangement. So also in case of an uh, E2 reaction, we have seen evidences. So there was no rearrangement because there was no formation of an carbocation. But here now you can see there is formation of an carbocation, and as there is formation of an carbocation in the first step, it tries to attain a stable conformation. So conformation means what? So it tries. There is rotation of a single bond, or we can say it tries to attain a stable conformation. So here meaning is that, so there might be some rearrangement, or there might be some internal transfer to form a more stable carbocation. If we see the stability of a carbocation, the tertiary is more stable than secondary, then primary, and then methyl. See the stability of carbocation it increases with tertiary, secondary, primary, and methyl group. Right? So least stable that is methyl, and more stable it is nothing but an tertiary. So when electron releasing group it increases, or we can say electron releasing group on the carbon increases, so there will be more stability, or you might have learned about an inductive effect in the first chapter also, that as the inductive effect, as the positive inductive group increases, stability of carbocation it increases, or we can say the molecules or the atoms which shows an, or the groups we can say, uh, which are electron donating, it it forms a more stable carbocation. So CH3, it is an electron donating group. So that is why it forms a more stable. As electron withdrawing group increases, stability of carbocation decreases. So this CH3, they are electron releasing group or electron donating group, and tertiary is more stable. Now here you can see this CH3, it has been replaced by an hydrogen, so it becomes a little bit least stable. After that, more least stable, and after that, lastly, it is one of the least stable methyl group. Right? So stability of carbocation, it increases, and in case of this elimination reaction, molecule tries to attain rearrange itself to an tertiary. Right? If possible, it tries to arrange itself to an tertiary, and because tertiary is more stable structure. Next one, that is okay. I have to move a little bit. Reactivity towards an alkyl substrate now. So as we have seen that in case of an carbocation also, right? So as carbocation stability increases with tertiary secondary, and lastly least stable, that is methyl. So tertiary substrate, or we can say an tertiary alkyl substrate, will be more favored because it forms a more stable carbocation compared to secondary and compared to an primary. And as the rate of reaction of increasing rate of elimination reaction, or we can say rate of reaction increases with an tertiary substrate. So tertiary substrate, uh, because it forms a tertiary carbocation, and tertiary carbocations are more stable compared to secondary and compared to an primary. Hope you understand. Now we'll see an orientation. So similar will be an orientation as we have seen in E2 reaction. So orientation here, it means I am talking about an steps rule. Right? So steps rule will be similar for E1 and E2, that more stable alkene, or we can say highly substituted alkene or tetra substituted alkene, will form a major product, and primary alkene, or we can say least stable uh, alkene, or we can say that alkene which is having less substituent, so it will be a minor product. Right? Now we'll see some distinguishing points between E1 and E2. Right? So from this you can understand. It is like a summary now. Right? So mechanism we have seen. So in case of an E1, there might be two or more steps, right? So and not two. We have seen only two-step mechanism. So it can be that there may be more steps, but in case of an E1, there is only one step, that simultaneously proton, it has been abstracted, and at the same time pi electrons, it forms a double bond, pi bond, that is, and at the same time halogen, it depends. So it is only one step, and it depends on concentration of a substrate as well as base. So it is said to be a bimolecular, while in case of an E1, it is an unimolecular, because there is it depends only on concentration of a substrate. As we know that rate of reaction, we have seen that it follows in first order kinetics, and it follows in E2, it follows in second order kinetics. Right? Substrate dependent, right? Uh, those in case of an E1, those substrate that forms and stable carbocations, right? So they are more favored, right? But in case of an E2, it requires a strong base, right? And any substrate with an beta carbon. So it is a pre-requirement, we can say, or prerequisite for in case of an E2, that it should have an beta carbon. So that is why it is said to be an beta elimination, while even it is also said to be an alpha elimination, and E2, it is said to be an beta elimination. So in case of an E2, so substrate, it requires a beta proton, as well as there should be a strong base, because this strong base, it will abstract an beta proton, and as it abstract an beta proton, and it will form an alkene with the pi bond. Right? After that, stereochemistry, or already I discussed that their stereospecificity, right?
So we have seen in case of an orientation of an E2 reaction, these are stereospecific. So we have seen that syn elimination and anti-elimination, right? So these are stereospecific, and these are not stereospecific. So reason is that carbocation which has been formed in the intermediate form, it tries to form an stable structure, or it tries to form a more stable carbocation, right? And due to this, stereochemistry of a structure changes. So it tries to form a stable conformation, or it tries to form a stable carbocation, and that is why the stereochemistry it changes. And so it is not said to be a stereospecific in the reaction. Right? After that, importance of base or nucleophile. If a good or non-basic nucleophile is present, halide bisulfate, then SN1, right? A strong or non-nucleophile base, right? Best to limit SN2 reaction. After that, importance of a living group. So RDS over here, it means that rate determining step. So a rate determining step is important because in rate determining step, so a rate determining step, there is a removal of an halogen. Right? Involved in RDS is so important in case of E2 also. After that, it proceeds in polar protic solvent based, and it varies. So polar protic, so here it means that it should have an hydrogen, and hydrogen it is required because carbocation which is being formed in the between, right? So polar structure, it stabilizes this carbocation which is formed during a reaction. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. And again, I am thankful for Nirmal sir for giving me an opportunity. If you are having any type of an questions, you can uh, you can write in a comment section uh, of this video. So I will reply it, and also subscribe my channel for more new videos, and also view another video in my channel. And thank you.